Get ready, because this rising star is on the verge of shattering everything you thought you knew. Shedeur has been quietly, methodically proving that he is a rare and exceptional talent, one that many seasoned evaluators now believe may be superior to some of the most heavily hyped quarterbacks in the game, including Caleb Williams. His ball placement is precise, his accuracy surgical, and his ability to diagnose defenses and process reads at high speed immediately separates him from his peers. When placed side by side with others in his class, his command of the game is impossible to ignore. The votes are officially in, the numbers have been finalized, the verdict delivered, and the NFL has now confirmed what Cleveland Browns fans and Shedeur Sanders supporters across the country have already known deep down. This young quarterback is different. He is special, and he is on a trajectory toward greatness. Shedeur Sanders has been named the Pepsi Zero Sugar NFL Rookie of the Week for Week 14, and this is not a hollow gesture or a feel-good nod handed out to a rookie simply trying to survive. This is real recognition, earned, undeniable, and delivered straight from the highest levels of professional football. It is a clear declaration that Sanders is not just competing in the NFL, but performing at an elite level among the league's best young players right now. After everything he has endured, the non-stop scrutiny of his preparation, the constant questioning of his readiness, the sabotage narratives that dominated headlines, and the critics who doubted whether he could handle the NFL spotlight, Shedeur responded in the loudest way possible. He delivered a performance so dominant, so undeniable, that the league itself had no choice but to acknowledge his brilliance. This wasn't opinion, this was validation. Sanders was one of 6 highly talented nominees for this prestigious weekly honor, and notably, one of those nominees was his own teammate, tight end Harold Fannin Jr. That alone speaks volumes about how explosive and productive the Browns' offense was in Week 14. But when the votes were counted and the results revealed, it was Shedeur Sanders standing alone at the top, claiming his first Rookie of the Week award and announcing to the football world that he has arrived and he is ready to take over. This moment represents far more than an individual accolade. It is a turning point not only in Sanders' young career, but for a Cleveland Browns franchise that has desperately needed something real to believe in after weeks of dysfunction, controversy, and organizational instability. For the first time in a long time, there is genuine hope, and it's wearing number under center. Now let's break down exactly what Shedeur accomplished in Cleveland's 31-29 loss to the Tennessee Titans, because while the final score didn't fall the Browns' way, Sanders' individual performance was nothing short of electric. He completed 23 of 42 passes, a 54.8% completion rate that some will try to nitpick, but context matters immensely. This was a rookie quarterback operating behind an offensive line still developing chemistry, throwing to receivers with limited shared reps while facing an NFL defense specifically designed to confuse disguise coverages and pressure young passers. Completing over half his passes while aggressively pushing the ball downfield under those conditions is not a flaw. It's impressive, and that's before the numbers get truly eye-opening. Shedeur torched the Titans' secondary for 364 passing yards, a statement performance that erased any remaining doubt about whether his arm talent translates to the professional level. This was not inflated production built on checkdowns or stat padding. This was fearless downfield aggression, precision throws into tight windows, and a rookie quarterback playing with the calm command of a seasoned veteran. Those 364 yards marked the first 300-yard passing game of his NFL career, and it certainly won't be the last. The scoring output told the same story. Sanders threw 3 touchdown passes, tying the highest single-game total of his young career and proving that he's not just moving the ball between the 20s, he's finishing drives and delivering when the pressure peaks. And just when defenses thought they had accounted for everything, he added another dimension. Shedeur also led the team with 29 rushing yards, showcasing his mobility and awareness as a legitimate dual-threat quarterback. When passing lanes collapsed, he punished defenses with his legs. To cap it all off, he scored the first rushing touchdown of his NFL career, flashing the athleticism, competitiveness, and instinct that keep defensive coordinators awake at night. When you combine all of that into a single performance, the Rookie of the Week honor becomes inevitable. His 364 passing yards tied for the third most by a Browns rookie quarterback in franchise history. His 3 touchdown passes tied for the second most by a Browns rookie in a single game. And then there's the stat that truly separates this performance from the rest. Shedeur Sanders became the first player in Cleveland Browns history to throw for at least 300 yards, toss 3 touchdown passes, and add a rushing touchdown in the same game. That's not rookie excellence. That's all-time franchise excellence. That is a record book performance, placing his name alongside Browns legends and cementing his impact in history. Since taking over as the starter in Week 12, when the organization finally handed him the keys and allowed him to prove what he could do, Sanders has started 3 consecutive games. Across those starts, the production has been impossible to ignore. He has completed 50 of 87 passes for 722 yards and 5 touchdowns, displaying consistency, growth, and command week after week. Even more telling, he has completed at least 1 pass of 50 or more yards in each of his first 3 NFL starts, a clear signal that he is unafraid to attack vertically and stretch defenses, an absolute necessity in today's NFL. This is what modern offenses demand from their franchise quarterbacks, and Shedeur is delivering it early. Now, none of this means the transition has been flawless. It hasn't, and pretending otherwise would be dishonest. Through 4 games this season, Sanders has faced real challenges, real adversity, and real learning moments, as every rookie quarterback does. But what separates him is how quickly he adapts, how fearlessly he responds, and how clearly his ceiling reveals itself under pressure. Shedeur Sanders is no longer just a promising rookie. He is no longer a debate. He is a proven playmaker, a leader, and now an officially recognized force in the NFL. The league has spoken, the record books are already responding, and Cleveland finally has something real to build around. When you watch Shedeur play, you're not seeing a quarterback guessing or surviving. You're seeing one who operates with poise, confidence, and calculated aggression. He makes disciplined decisions under pressure, rarely forcing plays, and consistently puts his team in winning positions. His on-field production isn't just encouraging, it's flashing the unmistakable markers of true greatness. What makes his ascent even more striking is how decisively he has outperformed quarterbacks who were once considered well ahead of him. He hasn't just held his own against college competition, he's excelled against professional players with more experience, more reps, and more institutional trust. His learning curve has been incredibly steep, and his natural skill set is so refined that a growing number of analysts believe he should already be viewed as a legitimate first-round talent. The narrative is shifting fast. People are beginning to understand that Shedeur isn't some distant future project. He is ready right now. The growth he has displayed in just a handful of games is extraordinary, and if this trajectory continues, he won't just be discussed. He'll be recognized as one of the premier young quarterbacks in the league. What's truly frustrating is that despite this obvious talent and rapid development, the coaching staff led by Kevin Stefanski has failed to fully acknowledge or maximize what they have. Instead of empowering Shedeur with meaningful opportunities to lead, develop, and command the offense through real game action, the team continues to hesitate, keeping him behind quarterbacks who simply do not match his level of play. This isn't just a disservice to Shedeur, it's a critical misstep by the coaching staff. Stefanski's reluctance or inability to commit to developing and starting Shedeur Sanders reflects questionable judgment and a lack of long-term vision. If this continues, the franchise risks squandering a rare talent capable of fundamentally altering its future. And this is where the conversation has to change. If Shedeur can go head-to-head with Caleb Williams and outperform him, we need to recalibrate the entire discussion. He's not just the best quarterback on the Browns roster, he's already better than multiple quarterbacks in his age group across the NFL. This league is about competing against your peers, and by that standard, Shedeur is winning. If he beats Caleb Williams, then yes, we have to say it plainly. He's better than Caleb Williams. What people keep overlooking is how little time he's actually had. He's only been a full starter for 2 weeks. The first game doesn't even count. He had no real reps, no tailored game plan, no preparation built around his strengths. That game plan belonged to Dillon Gabriel. Now, for the first time, the offense is being designed specifically for him. The plays he prefers, the rhythm he thrives in, the situations where he's most dangerous. And suddenly you see the difference. You see the swagger, you see the confidence, you see a quarterback who knows the offense is his. This is also why the league needs more former players in decision-making roles. Real football people don't obsess over interview answers, outfit choices, celebrations, or family names. None of that matters. What matters is whether a quarterback can play at a high level and help a franchise win. Period. And if you go out there and beat a quarterback who was the #1 pick just 2 years ago, that should end the debate. Shedeur has made it clear he is not just another young quarterback trying to find his footing. He is already operating at a top-tier level. In just 2 full weeks as a starter, he has absorbed a customized game plan, executed it with intelligence and confidence, and elevated the offense around him. While many rookies buckle under the weight of complex professional systems, Shedeur has embraced the challenge and thrived, leading with both swagger and cerebral control. When you compare him directly to Caleb Williams, the contrast becomes unavoidable. Caleb may play off script, relying heavily on improvisation, but Shedeur is dissecting defenses, commanding structure and controlling games. His ability to compete with and potentially outperform a former #1 pick speaks volumes about his ceiling and his readiness. And what truly sets him apart is that he doesn't fit the traditional mold teams cling to. His background, his personality, his celebrations, none of it matters compared to the results. He wins, he elevates teammates, he changes outcomes. If Shedeur beats a quarterback like Caleb Williams, it should force every NFL executive and coach to rethink how they evaluate talent. It's a wake-up call that production, intelligence, and winning must always come before image and narrative. Shedeur Sanders is proving he's a legitimate game changer, and the league needs to start paying attention now. Shedeur is doing all of this in just his second career start, and that context matters. I remember Caleb Williams' first and second starts clearly. He won early, yes, but the production wasn't special. The stat line was modest, the ball security shaky, and the game was largely carried by defensive takeaways, interceptions, special teams plays, and short fields. Caleb benefited from the environment around him. Shedeur, on the other hand, was the reason his team won. Full stop. The offense moved because of him. The outcome swung because of him. Now, people will point out the losses, and that's fair. He's dropped the last couple of games. But anyone actually watching the tape understands that wins and losses don't tell the whole story, especially for a rookie quarterback on the Browns. What matters is how he looks, how he commands the offense, how he processes pressure, and how he responds in real time. Forget the logo on the helmet, forget the chaos surrounding the franchise. The only real question is this: is he the future? Because for an entire college season, we were told repeatedly that this was a top 5 talent, a day 1 guy. Then draft season hit and suddenly the narrative flipped. Now it was attitude. Confidence became cocky. Interviews were dissected. Style was criticized. Noise replaced evaluation. And before Shedeur ever got a real opportunity, he was already pushed behind a third-round quarterback who, quite frankly, didn't show anything close to the same ceiling. Despite all of that, once Shedeur finally stepped onto the field with a real game plan built for him, the difference became obvious immediately. When you compare Shedeur's early performances directly to Caleb Williams, the contrast is striking. Caleb flashed with mobility and off-script playmaking, but he also made costly mistakes and relied heavily on his legs and situational advantages. Shedeur, by comparison, is controlling games. He's delivering the football with precision, managing the offense, and consistently making the right decision. Even in just his second start, he looked like the engine of the offense, not a passenger. That's rare, especially for a rookie. What stands out even more is the composure, the confidence, the command. He's playing with the kind of calm, focused teams pray to find in a future franchise quarterback. He isn't overwhelmed by the speed of the game. He isn't rattled by elite defenses. He's adjusting, learning, and elevating in real time. That's not survival. That's impact. And the most impressive part of his rise is how thoroughly he's dismantling the doubts that followed him before he ever got a chance. Critics obsessed over personality instead of performance. They ignored the resume, ignored the college tape, ignored the fact that talent doesn't disappear because of an interview. Now that he's on the field, the truth is undeniable. Real ability always reveals itself. Determination always wins out. And Shedeur's play is making the noise impossible to ignore. There's a reason so many evaluators now like him more as a prospect than Dillon, Gabriel, or anyone else in this class. It's simple. He puts the ball exactly where it needs to be, over and over again. That kind of accuracy isn't accidental. It isn't luck. It's skill, timing, and understanding. Even when you strip away the hype and try to view him objectively, the results still hold up. Now, some will argue it's too early to call anyone a lock after just 3 or 4 starts, and in general, that's reasonable, but context matters again. Shedeur hasn't been padding stats against weak defenses. He's faced some of the most aggressive, ball-hawking secondaries in the league, units built to force turnovers and punish mistakes, and instead of folding, he's thrived. He hasn't just survived elite pressure, he's answered it. That's how you separate flashes from foundations. This isn't a hot streak. This is a quarterback with the mindset, skill set, and mental toughness to build something sustainable. If this is what he looks like now, imagine where he'll be with experience, stability, and actual organizational support. Which brings us to the uncomfortable part of the conversation, Kevin Stefanski. His grip on the Browns' head coaching job is hanging by a thread, and honestly, it's hard to justify why it shouldn't be. 2 years of stagnation, 2 years of missed opportunities, and now, right in front of him, is a quarterback clearly capable of outperforming several established and heavily hyped names across the league. Yet, the hesitation remains. The indecision persists. Failing to recognize and commit to Shedeur may end up being Stefanski's defining mistake. A coach who can't identify elite talent in real time or refuses to trust it is a liability. It's baffling that a quarterback showing he can outplay guys like Cam Ward, Kenny Pickett, and even Caleb Williams hasn't been fully empowered to lead. That reluctance isn't caution, it's paralysis, and it's holding the franchise back. If the Browns want to move forward, they have to stop protecting a coach who won't make hard decisions and start backing the quarterback who is proving week by week that he can carry the team. Stefanski's job security isn't being threatened by Shedeur's performance, it's being exposed by it. At the end of the day, Shedeur is doing exactly why experts believed he could be better than Caleb Williams in the first place. He's displaying elite accuracy, advanced processing, leadership, and poise far beyond his years. If this trajectory continues, the NFL won't have a choice. It will have to take notice. If you're excited to see what Shedeur does next, make sure to like and subscribe for the latest updates. And let me know in the comments, do you think Shedeur has what it takes to become the NFL's next superstar? He has thrown 3 interceptions and taken 8 sacks, numbers critics will eagerly point to as proof that he's still raw and in need of refinement. And to be fair, they're not entirely wrong. Shedeur Sanders is still acclimating to the sheer velocity of the NFL game. He's learning how rapidly defensive windows slam shut, how quickly pressure arrives, and when it's wiser to accept what a defense concedes versus forcing a high-risk, explosive play. Those interceptions are not red flags. They're tuition payments. They're the inevitable growing pains every young quarterback endures while adapting to the complexity, disguise, and speed of NFL defenses. The 8 sacks, meanwhile, tell a far more nuanced story. They're a product of multiple variables: offensive line protection, Sanders' evolving pocket awareness, his decision-making cadence, and the structure of the offensive scheme itself. Some of those sacks fall squarely on Sanders, moments where he held the ball too long or missed an opportunity to get it out quickly. But others stem from protection breakdowns, receivers failing to separate in time, and a rookie quarterback still developing his internal clock for how long he can survive before pressure collapses the pocket. What matters most is that Sanders is improving in these areas, and that progress is being noticed inside the building. Head coach Kevin Stefanski, a man who has evaluated and coached countless quarterbacks and knows precisely what to look for in young signal callers, has been genuinely impressed by Sanders' development, especially in technical areas that often take quarterbacks years to master. In comments made on December 8th, Stefanski specifically highlighted Sanders' footwork and pocket presence, two foundational traits that often determine whether a quarterback ultimately succeeds or fails at the NFL level. "I've been really impressed by his work ethic, and that goes back to the moment he got here," Stefanski said. That quote carries significant weight. It directly dismantles the sabotage narrative that circulated earlier in the season. It confirms that the coaching staff recognizes Sanders' commitment, discipline, and professionalism, even as he works through the natural growing pains of a rookie quarterback adjusting to the highest level of the sport. Stefanski went on to make remarks that should energize every Browns fan thinking about Sanders' long-term future. He acknowledged that Sanders is still in the earliest stages of his career and understands that constant improvement is the goal. Some moments in games, Stefanski explained, simply can't be replicated in practice. You can review them on tape, discuss them in walkthroughs, but the real learning happens when you experience them live, under pressure, in real NFL moments. Those reps, he emphasized, are the most valuable teaching tools a quarterback can have, and he believes Sanders will absorb every one of them and convert them into growth moving forward. Those comments reveal exactly how the coaching staff views Sanders' trajectory. They are not demanding perfection. They are not expecting a finished product from a quarterback who has started only 3 NFL games. They understand that true development is forged through experience, through mistakes, adjustments, and repeated exposure to different defensive looks. Most importantly, they believe Sanders possesses the intelligence, work ethic, and mental resilience required to internalize those lessons and continuously elevate his game. This Rookie of the Week award serves as validation for everything Sanders has been working toward. It confirms that his talent is real and his future is bright. After weeks of controversy surrounding his preparation, his usage, and whether he was being properly supported, Sanders delivered an unequivocal answer. He proved beyond any reasonable doubt that he belongs on an NFL field and can compete with anyone lining up across from him. This was not charity. This was not sympathy. This was earned recognition driven purely by performance and production. What makes the moment even more powerful is the timing. This award arrives in the middle of organizational turbulence, right as reports surface about emergency board meetings, potential coaching changes, and a fan base demanding accountability for how Sanders was initially handled. And Sanders' response to all of that chaos? He goes out and delivers a 364-yard, 4-touchdown performance that forces the entire league to acknowledge his excellence. That is the mark of a true competitor. Someone who doesn't deflect blame, doesn't get distracted by outside noise, and instead focuses relentlessly on what he can control, his play. The 29 rushing yards Sanders added against Tennessee deserve special attention as well, because they highlight a dimension of his game that makes him exceptionally difficult to defend. Modern NFL defenses are engineered to neutralize traditional pocket passers who pose no threat with their legs. But a quarterback who can extend plays, convert critical downs with mobility, and punish defenses when lanes open fundamentally alters the calculus for defensive coordinators. Sanders' first career rushing touchdown wasn't just a highlight. It was a statement. It was proof that he's a complete quarterback capable of beating defenses in multiple ways. When you zoom out and evaluate Sanders' overall body of work across his first 3 starts, the trajectory is unmistakably upward. Yes, there have been mistakes. Yes, there have been learning moments. But the production has been consistently strong. His 722 passing yards across 3 games average out to 240.7 yards per contest, a pace that would place him among the more productive passing offenses in the league if sustained. His 5 touchdowns demonstrate an ability to finish drives and deliver when points are needed. and his completion of explosive passes of 50 yards or more in every start confirms that he has the arm talent, confidence, and aggression required to attack defenses vertically, an absolute non-negotiable trait for elite NFL quarterbacks. The interceptions and sacks are areas that need refinement, without question, but they are also precisely the types of issues that typically diminish with experience, chemistry, and improved structural support. As Sanders builds timing and trust with his receivers, those interceptions should naturally decline. As the offensive line continues to develop cohesion and communication, the sack numbers should fall. And as Sanders sharpens his pocket awareness and decision-making speed, learning when to escape versus when to stand tall and deliver, both metrics should trend decisively in the right direction. What's especially encouraging is Stefanski's emphasis on footwork and pocket presence, two areas where Sanders is already showing tangible improvement. Footwork is the foundation of accuracy at the NFL level, and progress there is often the clearest indicator of a quarterback whose ceiling has yet to be reached. Thank you guys, see you next video.